Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to unmute myself right in the middle of an exclamation. Oh! 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 Stretch the back. Stretch the back. Oh. What's up? That's right, Joseph Dahari. The hoodie is fire. It's fire. Hold on. I gotta straighten up my shirt. What's going on here? There's one side. Oh. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Should we do the whole live stream just like this? I feel like that's the right number of buttons. Now we'll do it like this. Oh. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to answer your questions. It's giving Paddington Bear mixed with frat party. I don't know about frat party. I'm not sure if how I should take that. But Paddington Bear, sure. No, frat party. I guess I'll take it. I have a hold on. Speaking of Paddington Bear, so if you're curious, tops, hoodies. Hang on, I know where I could just go to the order. Hold on, let me pull up the receipt. I'm going to show you Paddington Bear. I'm sorry. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, there we go. Your order is on the way. Let's show images. Paddington Bear. No. Oh, come on. So I also have this coming. I ordered this from the same website. Shut the fuck up. Excuse me. Excuse my swearing. I explicitly was like, it kind of reminds me of a teddy bear. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it now. I have had pretty good luck. You see ads for clothes on Facebook, you know, and sometimes the clothes are AI generated, or what you get doesn't match what you see in the ad. So like a lot of the ad companies are these rip-off Chinese companies just trying to like take your money and sell you shit clothes. I've had very good luck with this company, ordering clothes from them. What I get, rough, it is sized correctly and matches, you know, what I see. You know, I've been pretty happy, and I've been a repeat customer from them. So if you know, if you're like looking for clothes and you like this style of clothes, I've had good results and feel reasonably confident that what I get is like what I see, which is a lot, and the sizing is roughly what I expect, which is literally all you can ask. Like for example, I have this shirt, and like this waffle pattern that you see here. On some companies, the shirt you actually get would be like a polyester fabric with the waffle pattern printed on, as opposed to actually being a waffle texture fabric. This one, it's very nice. It is a waffle print, you know. So some of these are adorable. I'm a fan of this company and have ordered from them before. Only tops, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure I've ordered any bottoms, any pants from them. But anyway, what else did I buy from them? That's where I got this. That's where I got this as well. Yeah, so, you know, whatever. We'll plug that. Oh, no, that didn't need to happen. What was that? That's dumb. Go away, Telegram. Quit Telegram. Quit Telegram. Quit Telegram. Now I've given away my secret for where I get all my cool clothes, such as it is. I don't think my wife likes the direction some of my dressing choice, my clothes choices have turned lately. Sometimes, you know, whenever I get a new piece of clothing, I'm like, oh, hey, what do you think of this? And sometimes she's just like, yeah, corduroy, huh? Or whatever. And I'm like, that's not exactly the same as, oh, hey, it looks good on you. Anyway, what are you going to do? Uniqlo, that's where I should shop? You think I'm more of a Uniqlo guy? Man, let's see. Let's see if I'm a Uniqlo guy. Let's go with shirts and polos. Sure. Casual shirts. Just see already. Can I just see all shirts and polos? No, I got to pick. Casual shirts, dress shirts, polo shirts, all shirts and polos. There we go. Let's have a look. If any of these jump out at me. Nah, this seems a little too formal. I don't usually dress that formal. Flannel heathered shirt. I like flannel. I like heathered. Yeah. It's hard for me to see my... Oh, that's nice. I kind of like that. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know if this is exactly, like, resonating with me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong category. Men, casual shirts. Let's look at casual shirts. These are the same shirts. These are casual shirts? You call these casual? What kind of casual? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a little too close to just a button-up dress shirt. Make me feel like I would need to be wearing a suit. T-shirts, fleeces, and sweats. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a t-shirt. What do you want? How do you sell a t-shirt? Like, oh, it's a t-shirt and it's a color. Like, what? You get a Fruit of the Loom. Yeah, I don't know if this is really vibing for me. Anyway. What are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about clothes? We're here to talk about FPV. All my t-shirts are FPV branded anyway. That's what I do. Oh, I just got my ethics chesty and my wife laughed. Nice. Yeah. Don't count on your, like, I like it when my wife says, "Oh, you look good today," when she says it. Adam thinks those are a bit too preppy for me. That's the thing. Like, I recently, where's Adam's comment? Too preppy. Are we getting all the comments? Why is it not showing up there? Oh, well.
I clicked it for you.
Oh, thanks, Blinty. I don't know why that isn't in my window. Weird. Yeah, I recently, as in like a year ago, I signed up for one of those subscription boxes. I think it was Stately Men. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna upgrade my wardrobe a little. Try not to be so sloppy. And I think I shot a little bit too close to the sun, because I was getting maybe a little too preppy outfits, you know. And I was trying to make them work, and I thought it's okay. And she was like, "Nah, a little too cleaned up for me." It's like, oh well. My wife doesn't like it. I guess I was just gonna, have to find somebody else who does. Right? All right, enough about that. Let's talk about FPV stuff. What seems like the best FPV system for fixed wing with the new changes to everything? Any USA-based ones? You're going to want to go analog. I do want to reiterate that. Hang on a second. With the changes to everything, the FCC, we don't know how that's going to play out. We have no idea what the actual effect on the ground is going to be. I talked to somebody this week, and you should not put any faith in this because this is just, I heard from a guy. I talked to somebody this week who said that, in his opinion, what happened is they wanted to ban DJI, Autel, and other such finished drones. And then they were like, oh, well, we can't ban the drones, but then let them import the parts and then assemble the drones in the U.S. and basically end up with a DJI drone that circumvents the ban. So they were like, well, we'll just ban all the parts as well. And according to this person, FPV drone parts were not anywhere in their mind. They just meant to say you can't import a DJI part and assemble it into a DJI drone to circumvent the ban on complete drones. And he was like, I don't think this is intended to affect FPV parts or hobby parts in any way whatsoever. I don't think they even thought about that. I was like, well, that's an interesting take. It doesn't matter if that's what the worry is, that the literal wording of the rule will be what gets enforced. And frankly, right now, I don't think anyone, including maybe some of the people at the FCC, know exactly how this is going to be implemented. So, I think it's going to take at least 3 months before we even have an inkling of how this is going to play out, and maybe as much as 6 months or a year before we can look back and say, oh, okay, here's what it means. So, with all the new changes to everything, in some sense, nothing has changed, except if you wanted to buy the next DJI drone. Like right now, nothing has changed. You could still buy everything that you could buy a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Eventually, DJI will release a new drone, and that drone will not get FCC certification unless something changes, and we have no reason to believe that it will. And that drone you will not be able to get in the United States. But for now, nothing's changed. And as far as FPV hobby parts go, I think there's a fair chance that nothing will change. We'll see. I mean, that a fair chance doesn't mean a good chance, but it means a fair chance. So, what's the best system to go with today? Analog is the safest one to get. That being said, analog is the one that you are most likely to continue to get parts for one way or the other. That being said, if you already own DJI goggles, buy a DJI Air unit from Flywoo and, you know, just keep using it, right? There's every chance that you will continue to be able to get DJI Air units through some means, right? 04 Air unit currently has FCC certification. Will they retroactively pull it? If they do retroactive, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Think about ham licenses. How many of you guys have a ham license? Now, some of you are raising your hand right now. I have a ham license just because as a high-profile influencer, I feel like I have a big target on my back. I got a ham license just because I wanted to be not blatantly in violation of the rules. I follow all the rules all the time and never break them. But like something like, hey, does Bardwell have a ham license? Well, that's anyone can look that up. I was like, well, okay, I'm going to cover that base. Just recently, I thought to myself, when was the last time I took my 107 recurrent? Hey, Blunty, how often are you supposed to take your recurrent exam on your 107?
I think it changed. It used to be 2 years and now it's 3 years. And I just did mine, I think.
I didn't know it changed. I thought it was 2 years.
I believe it's 2 years, and then when you renew it goes to 3 now. Suffice
it to say, I was overdue. Now, I shouldn't admit that because, but you know, it is what it is. It's a matter of public record that I was overdue and let it lapse. I was like, oh shit, I better re-up that. I need to cover my bases. Here's my point. A lot of you guys flying FPV do not have a ham license. You are supposed to have a ham license. You don't have one. No one cares. There's all. Does your radio master, does your Express LRS receiver have a Part 15 certification? It probably doesn't, unless it's a radio master, because nobody else bothers. My point is, lots of the shit you're using already is in violation of the rules, and it hasn't mattered for years, and it might continue to not matter. So you got an 04 Air unit. Does it have an FCC certification? Flywoo doesn't give a flip. DJI, as long as it's got a Flywoo badge on the box, DJI doesn't give a flip. You're still going to be able to get them. Even if they pull the cert, you're still going to keep using them. It matters to people doing professional work where sometimes for insurance and liability and contractual reasons, being legal matters. And even then, a lot of times there are ways in which, like theoretically, it's not possible to use a ham license for commercial work. It's only for amateur work. And yet, lots of people are doing work with under Part 97 because there's no other way to do it. So, my point is, go with analog if you want the safest option, but you're probably reasonably safe within a, say, 1 to 2 year window to go with anything that you can get your hands on. I think that's a realistic take. Anyway, there you go. Realistic takes, by the way, not, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. And, you know, you got to be able to read the room. Like, there's, when the room is full of people who are waving pitchforks, it's not right for you to be the nerd who is like, well, actually, and try to give a nuanced take. And I feel like for the last, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, since the FCC notification came out, I feel like I've been the nerd who is trying to, well, actually the room. And I've gotten a couple pitchforks thrown my way as a result. And there was a point where I made some comments on Botgrinder's recent video where Botgrinder is like, I will tell everyone the secret. And surprise, surprise, the secret is, it's not a secret, that Don Jr. has an investment in Unusual Machines. And aha, that's the reason why all this is happening. Ooh, great investigative journalism there. No one had ever mentioned this before. But Botgrinder puts together a very compelling, he's a very compelling guy. He puts together a video, and he is not shy away in any way from saying F you, F you, F them, F them. And for people, I think, who are angry and also think F everybody, that resonates. And he's got a lot of views on that video. And I went to the comment section of that video and was like, well, actually... And the thing that I most want to actually these days is that people say Rotor Riot did this. And I'm like, you're giving them way too much credit. It's not that I am trying to deflect blame away from Rotor Riot. Blame Rotor Riot, you blame Unusual Machines. It's that I think they don't deserve the credit for having enough power and influence to have caused this. But that little nuance apparently is lost in the room of people waving pitchforks and torches. That's how I see it. And it sounds like I'm sticking up for them. And so I was like, you know what? And I deleted my comment. I was like, you know what? I'm just drawing too much fire, and this is not the place. You have to know your audience and know, when it's appropriate to, just quietly back away. Say, nope, you guys have your pitchfork fest. Like, I don't care. Yeah. Yeah. And for people who are like, I don't know if I need to people are like, you need to disclaim Rotor Riot. You need to separate. And I'm like, I'm not going to come out and say, I disavow Rotor Riot. That's the guys at Rotor Riot are good guys. I like them. They're my friends. I've had a lot of good times with them. But professionally speaking, how long has it been since I was in a Rotor Riot video? Because people are like, oh, you're sticking up for them because you're like affiliated. I'm like, how long has it been since I was in a Rotor Riot video? I don't know. At least 2 years, though. Maybe 3 years. I only recently went back and was like, hey, guys, not to be rude or anything, but maybe it's time to take my picture off the website as a Rotor Riot team pilot. I haven't been in a Rotor Riot video in years and years and years. I haven't done anything with you guys, not intended to be a slap in the face, but maybe it's time to take my picture off the website, So, I have no interest in disavowing anything, because I'm it's like if there was a company that you used to work for 3 years ago, and the company did something and people were like, hey, are you going to disavow them? I'd be like, well, disavow? What do you mean? I haven't worked there for 3 years. Why do you want me to disavow them? So anyway, I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's exactly right, DC. Your face boosts their valuation and credibility. And to some degree, I was like, you know what? When Rotor Riot was just a YouTube channel, sometimes they did things that people liked. Sometimes they did things that people didn't like. But they were just a YouTube channel. And I was like, yeah, sure, put my name on the website. I don't care. And now that they're moving into this other realm, I don't disavow them for moving into this other realm. They're going to make these decisions. And I'm not like anybody who does anything defense-oriented is killing the hobby. I don't think that that's true. I have a nuanced take that I think is not necessarily welcome in a world of pitchforks and torches. But also maybe it's time to not necessarily have my face be associated with every single thing they do. My face should be associated with things. Be mad at me for the things that I do. I want to get credit for the things that I do and not get credit for the things that other people do. So that's how I would put that. Anyway. The live stream clips title for this can be Bardwell refuses to disavow Rotor Riot. No. Anyway. Am I for the money? of course I'm for the money. Everyone's for the money. Everyone's for the money. In some way. What do you mean? Yeah. What would I do for money? Ah, well, everyone has things they will and won't do for money. I do it for the love of the game. Yeah, that too. But also the money. Yeah. Anyway. I wish the guys at Rotor Riot the best. But I did feel like it was time to say... to make explicit that if I'm going to be affiliated or associated with something, that it should be explicit and not just kind of like running on fumes from something that was happening 3 years ago. Anyway. Sebi D asks, I would like your thoughts. I fly DJI Vistas and O3s with the V2 goggles. I seem to have found G2s available at the Emacs store. Do you think the G2s are a good choice? I have a lot of Vistas, and I really want to fly the O4. Well, Sebi D, the G2 and the Integra, I believe the Integra, but definitely the G2, are the only goggle today that will give you access to all three generations. The O4, the O3, and the Vista. So, you should also consider the possibility that you just get the G3, keep your V2s for your Vistas, and use the G3s for the O4s. So, that's a possibility that that's a better move. Speaking of Vistas, is anyone still buying Vistas? I just realized something. Somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, I need a Vista. And I realized I have 4 drones currently with Vistas in them that I basically don't fly anymore. Somewhere out there, someone wants those Vistas. Someone with the V2 goggles maybe, or who still flies Vistas. Should I, like... Does anyone want them? What are they worth? Are they worth less or more today?
I'm seeing like 100 to 120. I mean, it depends on the camera.
Oh, good point.
But there's a lot of people on your Discord in particular who buy them all the time, I think. I mean, I buy them every now and then. I still have V1 goggles.
I haven't flown Vistas in... like, everything I fly now is an O3 or an O4. I haven't flown the Vista drones. Nothing against the Vista. I've just, maybe I should put them up for sale on the Discord. And someone pick them up. I always give, like, bro pricing to people on the Discord, though. Yeah. What's a good ratio for disc loading on a long-range drone? Disc loading is the weight of the drone divided by the disc area of the props. And a good rule of thumb for a long-range drone is, I would say, 18 to 22. 18 to 22 is going to give you shit maneuverability, but still reasonable, like usable maneuverability, lots of battery. Disc loading of like 8 to 12 is a very light disc loading for like a very like a light 4-inch long-range bird. Yeah. Maybe as much as a disc loading of 25 at most for like a very, very heavy quadcopter with no maneuverability whatsoever. But I'd say 18 to 22. Flat Hatter wants to know, are you selling the whole quad with the Vista? Yeah, I mean, I would. I would rather sell the whole quad because, like, if I yank the Vista out of it, first of all, that's work for me, and then I have the whole quad. That's no, like, if you just want the Vista, I mean, I would probably, but then, like, then I've got 3 quads with no air unit in them, no video transmitter in them, and I'm not sure how much value they have. So I'd rather just sell the whole quad. And again, I would totally do, like, bro pricing for people on the Discord, but something maybe 150 for the whole quad with the Vista in it. You gotta figure it out. I don't know. We'll think about it. Should a new pilot go with a VRX instead of the new digital systems coming out? I don't know. What VRX do you mean? Lots of different types of video receivers. Will the new digital systems catch up with Caddx and DJI? You mean the new systems like the Caddx Ascent or the new Beta FPV video system? Will they catch up? Who knows? That's impossible to predict. Should a new pilot go with a VRX instead of the new digital systems? What type of VRX? That's an ambiguous question. So unfortunately, I'm not sure that we can answer that question. There we go. Happy New Year, Exiled FPV, and thank you for a 2026 donation. I see what you did there. Happy New Year, Exiled. Are you wearing shorts and sandals? Asks the real Mike Bundy. Well, for $10, I can reveal. $10 super chat. Yes! Shorts and sandals. That's a good look, actually. That shirt kind of goes with the sandals. Looking real. Looking real. Yeah. I am wearing shorts and sandals. Well, flip-flops. What about today's watch? What's today's watch? Today's watch, and again, I picked this. No, wrong one. I picked this just to go with the outfit because I felt like it fit the outfit. Today's watch is this mod watch that I made. It is in a vaguely Explorer 2-ish case. It's a GMT. It's a Seiko NH34 movement with a champagne dial, white. What do they call that style of hand? I can't remember what they call that style of hour hand. A Tudor style hand. It's a Tudor. It's maybe Black Bay Pro is it better than Rolex Explorer since it is the hands are Tudor style. It's Rolex has Mercedes hands on this. Oh, sorry about the autofocus, guys. It's trying to lock in on my eyeball. That is today's watch. I felt like it fit, and the case, the clasp and bracelet are from San Martin. Focus. Can't get it to focus. How about there? How about there? No, can't do it. Oh well. Quadpocalypse. It's Bardwell's fashion channel. That's right. I'm moving on to fashion streaming now that FPV is dead. How would you mount the Dogcom? Thank you, Data MPQ for a 5 Swiss francs. How would you mount the Dogcom 6S1P 5000 mAh lithium ion on the Nazgul F7 7-inch? The battery only fits the back strap. CG issues? Oof. Let's look at this battery. Dogcom 6S1P 5000. Oh, that's an annoying battery. The size of that battery is, yeah, that's annoying. It only fits, let's look at the Nazgul F7 7-inch. Seen this new split view feature? That's pretty cool. So the issue is that the battery itself is not long enough to get 2 battery straps on it. I mean, is there no way with this top plate to get 2 battery straps next to each other? It's just a piece of carbon. Like, I would consider, if necessary, removing the side plates and putting 2 battery straps right next to each other. It seems like this is the kind of thing where, like, seriously, dude, if you can't figure out how to get 2 straps on this battery, like, you just need to put the straps on the top plate somehow. And if the top plate won't allow for it, that's pretty freaking annoying. If it's because the side plate is in the way, just remove the side plate. Throw it away. Doesn't matter anyway. Does this have a side plate? Like the smaller one does? The picture is actually a little hard to read whether it has a side plate or not. Great picture. Fantastic picture. It does not have a side plate, does it? So why couldn't you, pardon me if I'm just being obtuse here, why couldn't you do like 1 battery here, 1 battery strap here, and 1 strap here? Right? Why would that not work? It sure seems like it would. Right? Boom. Too obvious? That's how I would do it. Yeah. I would definitely use 2 straps. But I agree that this battery is frustrating for that reason. Thank you for $13.99 Canadian from Adam Verby. As I get more and more into FPV, it's gotten me more and more into coding. You ever ventured into pen testing with devices like the Flipper Zero? I have not. I can tell you I was once on a trip with a buddy who had a Flipper Zero. And he decided that he would try to clone his hotel room key using the Flipper Zero. And he cloned his hotel room key, and then he tried to open his hotel room door with the Flipper Zero, and he broke the lock on his hotel room door, and it could not get into his room. And the hotel engineer came and could not get into his room, could not open the door. And we did not, of course, tell them we broke the lock with the Flipper Zero. Now, maybe the lock has some tamper resistant where it detected it was trying to be tampered with. But we just kept our mouths shut, and we're like, that's weird. And we ended up breaking into the room. We literally ended up, because his stuff was already in the room. We ended up breaking into the room with the hotel's permission. We were trying to jimmy the deadbolt. And the guy in the room next to us heard all the noise and came out, and he was like, oh, I got some tools in my truck. He was working construction site or something. He brought us this big crowbar, and we literally destroyed the door frame and the door, opening the door. And he got his stuff, and they put him in a different room. And I am sure that they had to completely replace that door frame and door at a cost of probably thousands of dollars. So that's my story for the Flipper Zero. The door passed the pen test. It took us over an hour to break into this door. And, ideally, it's not whether you can get through the door, it's how long it takes you and how much noise you make in the meantime. The door passed the pen test. Yes, Plenty.
I, as the many things I've done, one of them is managed a keycard door system for the Grow facility that I used to work for.
Okay.
I don't understand what keycard door system you can't go into an admin console, hit a button, and then it automatically opens the lock, because that's how ours worked. They had a safety system but there may be a law where you can't open a customer's door or something.
Clearly the hotel can open the door. Housekeeping goes in the room when you're not there. The hotel can clearly open the door. I think he broke the lock. I think something about the way that the real question is, why can you break a hotel door lock by sending it some kind of messed up, invalid RFID signal?
What I'm saying is there's a panel that's going to relay the signal from the keycard, and then there's a lock that unlocks and locks, and typically those are separate devices on a network.
Oh, so the lock itself can be overridden.
So you could go into a remote console, like an admin console, and unlock the door without the keypad working. That's what I mean. Because I've done that. I had to do it.
I mean, and by the way, they tried the little piece of metal bar that goes under the door and just pulls the handle. They tried all that stuff, and it just wasn't working for various reasons. So just for the record, there were ways that we should have not been required to break into the room. But it's also possible he didn't break the door, that the door just spontaneously broke. Although it was working until he tried to use the Flipper Zero on it, and then it did not work. So anyway. They couldn't. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the way that I may be misremembering some details of the story. It's possible that after the Flipper Zero, it stopped working, and then he fucked with it some and broke it in his attempts to get it open. Maybe he was I don't remember. I don't know exactly. Maybe he was jamming on the handle and he broke it, and that's why then all the remote system. I don't know. Anyway. It was broke. I'm remembering that it wasn't just, because we we pressed on the handle, and you could feel the deadbolt start to engage and then slip. I do think that there was a physical problem with the lock. Anyway, I'm probably missing some aspects of the story. It was a while ago. People are like, well, what about fire codes? I'm like, okay. There must be more to the story. You clearly are lying. You made it up. Not all the details add up. Okay. That's what I get for telling stories on the internet. Continuing on. Does the Flywoo 04 Lite kit with the wide-angle lens come with a longer MIPI cable? No, does not. It comes with a standard short MIPI cable that comes with the 04 Lite. What is the best way to remove it without destroying it? You just have to be real careful. Removing it from the air unit, I think, is not a big deal. It's the connector on the camera that is at risk. And you just kind of got to very carefully get in there and pop it off, you know? I don't know what to say. Speaking of the 04 kit, somebody asked me... well, somebody asked me why did I not just use a hot air gun when I removed the lens from my 04 Lite. Listen, I want to assure you that the minute I started to try to remove that lens and it didn't just like pop off, I stopped the video and went and did 20 minutes of searching, looking for tutorials for how to remove that lens. And every single tutorial I found, including Flywoo's own tutorial, said, remove the lens, and did not show how to remove the goddamn lens. And I watched videos from various people, and I did Google searching, and I watched through, and no one showed how to remove the lens. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll just wing it. Now, right now, you're thinking, well, but so-and-so's tutorial shows to use the heat gun. Good for you. I didn't find that one. Oh, I know a million tutorials. I looked, I searched, I did not find. And then I was just like, I guess I'll just try to figure it out. Crom shows it. Great. I searched on YouTube for, replace 04 wide lens installation. How to replace 04 light lens. I searched and did not find. And then I just was like, I guess I'll do it the best way I can figure out. And as usual, what's the name for that adage that the best way to figure out how to do something is to do it wrong on the internet and then a million people will correct you? Well, there you go. Apparently hot air gun was the right way to do it. There you go. As someone new to the hobby and a bit overwhelmed by all the tech and rule law developments, do I just stick with analog and wait for the dust to settle? Yep. Gotta tell you, if you don't already own DJI Walksnail HD0, I wouldn't blame you if you just decided to stick with analog and wait for the dust to settle. I'm not saying like you should, but if you're leaning that way, I don't think that's a bad idea. That's the other thing, Crom. Thank you for pointing that out. By the way, Crom has a tutorial on his YouTube channel. He's like, I show it. As I was like, you know what? It's good YouTube content when I just jack around with something and make a million mistakes and break stuff. And I will be, if anything, I'll just be a negative example for other people. If I can't be a positive example, be a negative example. Either way, right? And I also think of like Joseph Dahari said, if I'm running into this problem, so will other people, and I will try to find a solution. But if I can't find a solution, I'll at least show people how to F it up. And maybe they won't F it up like I did. Anyway. I want to make a 100% NDAA compliant VTOL. What flight controllers that are F405 equivalent are out there? No problem. Now, I'm sure there are more than one. But you could check out the, that's the ESC. TBS Lucid H7 flight controller. TBS Lucid H7, NDAA compliant. There's also a Lucid ESC that's NDAA compliant. And it runs, it's a great flight controller. It can run RGPilot if you want it to run RGPilot. It can run iNav. It can run Betaflight, of course. If you're doing a VTOL, you're probably not doing Betaflight. That would be my recommendation today. It's one of the most full-featured flight controllers you can get, just period, and it's NDAA compliant. Made in Virginia. That reminds me of another thing. Somebody said, all these companies, these American-made companies, they're just assembling Chinese stuff. So they're not really American-made. They're just getting paid to import Chinese stuff. Now, first of all, if the NDAA is written in such a way that you're NDAA compliant by importing Chinese stuff and assembling it, what do you care? That's a problem with the NDAA. You think the NDAA should have been written differently? Go take it up with your senator, your representative. But be that as it may, that's not even true. What's the Triumph? That's it. Triumph. Hang on. Right here. Triumph Manufacturing Corporation. This is where TBS manufactures their NDAA components. It's a factory. It's run by Alex Grieve of Video Aerial Systems. They license from TBS the right to manufacture TBS stuff in the United States. They have pick and place machines. They have soldering. They have PCB manufacturing. So when they say that a Lucid H7 was made in the USA, like, did some of the capacitors and resistors that go on the circuit board come from China? Yes, they did. Okay, so it's not 100% American made. Well, what does that even mean? But it absolutely is not just, oh, you're importing some Chinese product and slapping an American made label on it and marking it up and just collecting a paycheck. This stuff is legitimately made in the United States. So, and you know, F me for caring about facts. Okay, now I sound a little petulant, and I know it's not a good look. Oh, everything sucks. We're mad at the entire world. That doesn't make it okay to say false things. It's not because things are shitty and we're angry does not give you carte blanche to throw truth out the window. Be angry about things that are actually happening. The minute you stop caring whether the things you're upset about and the things you're saying are true, you lose the moral high ground. What does it even matter, the fucking moral high ground? Anyway. Accuse people of things that they're actually doing. And be righteously mad about those things. But don't just take your righteous anger and then say whatever you think and assume that it's true. Or not care that it's true. That's the nuanced take that's not welcome in a room full of pitchforks. Okay. Why are walk snail antennas so freaking hard to put on? Because walk snail hates you. That's a terrible design. The walk snail with the UFL connectors on the Moonlight or the GT, terrible design. And awful. I find it a little flathead screwdriver. You kind of slide it in carefully and you press down on it with a flathead screwdriver and you hope for the best. It's awful. With the SkyZone 040 Pros, what are the best settings for analog performance? Should I go for diversity or mixes? What are the best color settings? For color settings, I don't know. Like, I just leave it on default. I don't mess with it. Like, it's analog. How good is the color going to be, honestly? But as far as analog performance, should you use diversity or mixes? Use the mix mode, but then if you get the black screen with the horizontal scrolling, switch to diversity. Got that? The mix mode makes things better until you run into a camera that is incompatible with the mix mode, and then it makes it worse. So if I'm flying a particular drone and I get that black screen and it's kind of side scrolling, if it's happened to you, you know what it looks like. Then you switch from, well, you could try switching from mix 3 to mix 2 to mix 1 to see if it fixes it. But I just go from mix to diversity. And then I'm like, okay, I can't use mix mode on this drone. Let's see here. We got a lot of questions. Freestyle setup issue. Thank you for a $10 super chat from Eric Couette. HD0 freestyle setup issue. Questions in the patron troubleshooting forum. Okay. Patrons troubleshooting forum. Okay, here we go. Here's the question. Can I pop this out somehow? Open in full view. Oh, you know what I should do? I should go back to the... So I'm breaking the chat right now. I should go to the actual Discord app, because then I won't break the chat. So this is my Discord server. This is where all the beautiful people who... Okay, I'm sorry. That's... it's a family-friendly server. Joseph Tahari, what are you doing? That's not what the message that I would have preferred people to see when I was introducing them to my Discord server. Here we go. Flight controller is a... Can I go full screen on this? Open in full view. Flight controller is a SpeedyBee F7. VTX flash to newest firmware. VTX has red and blue solid lights. Use Betaflight preset pick attached for HD0. Betaflight shows device ready false and goggle scan not picking it up. So if Betaflight shows device ready false, then you're not talking to the video transmitter. That's the thing you got to solve. Red and blue solid lights means, wow, oh. It's been a minute. Hold on. That's not the freestyle. Do I even have a drone with a freestyle in it? I'm not convinced that I do. I have not a freestyle. Okay. Well.
Okay, so red LED. Oh, you got it. Never mind.
Yeah, 3 rapid flickers, but then does it stay on? Camera, blue LED pattern. If the error is active, what do they usually do? Do they stay on solid?
I think the red's supposed to be solid, but the blue is supposed to do like a
3 rapid flickers confirm it's active. But then if it was in a failure mode, so there's a thing when you unlock it where after you unlock it, the lights stay solid, and then you need to reflash it. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I unlocked a freestyle. Who are we going to click on? HTC unlocking the freestyle. How to unlock 1 watt. You gotta...
What's up, guys? This is going to be a little
this?
unboxing
Noikle.
and setup / tutorial, and
Okay.
here as well. So VTX firmware update. Except this is not.
Step 2, transfer the unlock file to the goggle, flash the VTX and power the VTX until the blue light flashes 3 times VTX is unlocked, flash standard firmware to the VTX. Okay, so the lights are off after that. Let's see if he shows the boot up.
So I'm going to put this in this.
Okay, come on. I want to see that. I want to see the flash pattern. We're not seeing the flash pattern. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to figure out if it's not flashing, can we assume that it's okay? Somebody who has an HC0 freestyle, turn it on. It goes off if the cameras. Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody mentioned not compliant smart audio. Is it possible that's what's happening?
No, because HC0 freestyle uses MSP, not smart audio.
Okay, wait. Okay.
The old race VTX used smart audio, but the freestyle uses MSP.
Okay. Is it possible he's doing it the wrong way?
Well, he loaded the preset, so it should be MSP.
Oh, okay.
The preset should have it correct, I would think. This setup here is the setup that I use.
Okay.
So that's what he's doing, and so that sets MSP. Crom, you don't have to record the boot up pattern. I'm just curious, can we verify that solid red, solid blue is normal? That would be without MSP connected. I don't have a freestyle handy that I can grab. My best guess is that you've got the wrong UART, or you've got the wiring wired wrong. SpeedyB F7, I believe. I'm going to assume you're using the plug. SpeedyB F7. I think UART 1 is correct for that, for the digital port. Let's double check that. Looking for the wiring for the DJI plug. GPS DJI air unit direct soldered. So what about a plug? What about a plug? Here we go. Yeah, so it's T1, R1, and R2. Yeah, so it's UART1 is correct for the plug. The other thing is that the HD0 wire comes backwards from some flight controllers. So in the DJI plug, if it was powering up, if it's powering up though, then the wiring order is correct. I would check the TX and RX wires to make sure that they're correct in the plug. That's worth checking. UART1 is correct. Crom is turning off MSP, so yeah. It looks like blue being on is normal after blue. Red, solid blue is normal when you're not talking to the flight controller. I think you should check the wiring. Double check the TX and RX wires. Yeah, Blinty.
That was with MSP working.
Yeah, but he's saying, yeah, but like the blue light did come on and then it blinked 4 times. I think we're going to conclude that solid red, solid blue is normal. He's checking it now. It feels like the way it's going. Everything sounds correct in your setup. I would check the wire harness. Make sure TX and RX are correct. Other than that, I'm not sure what it could be. We're going to verify, since a couple people are checking, we're going to verify these LEDs. Other than that...
If he's using UART,
yeah.
You check the SpeedyB F7, is there anywhere else he could accidentally have used UART1?
That's worth a look. I don't think so, but that's worth a look. after they break out UART1 elsewhere, and it's conflicting. Solid LED, solid red, solid blue is correct for normal boot up on that video transmitter. T1R1 are broken out. So did you solder something else to T1R1 and it's conflicting? If you soldered something to T1R1 right here, then that would conflict with the plug. So yes, that could absolutely cause a problem. That's another thing to check. All right. Hopefully that's given you some things to look into. I think we're going to move on, and we can keep working on it in the Discord server if we want to. Please shout out Alex Suarez's record-breaking 4-hour drone endurance test. Okay. That's a long-ass flight for sure. Alex Suarez, 2025 Ecuadorian national champion in men's surfing. It's probably not the same Alex Suarez.
I'll put a link in the Discord for you, bud.
Yeah, probably a good idea. 4-hour endurance time lapse.
Yeah, he's been working on the record basically for the longest single flight.
That's impressive.
You're not allowed to change weight in flight. You're not allowed to do remote recharge, like all the gimmicks. For people who don't know, Alex Suarez, one of the core members with me of the FPV Freedom Coalition.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Alex Suarez is also a member of MultiGP's board. I can't remember what his role is. MultiGP, I apologize, Alex, but also very active in MultiGP near the doing stuff.
It looks like a hexacopter. That's an interesting choice. And obviously, Alex broke the record, so he knows better than me. I would think for an endurance run, you would want the minimum number of large rotors. Like the ideal, the most efficient rotor is a helicopter. The big because propeller efficiency goes up with the square of the diameter of the propeller or something like that. So I'm surprised he went with a hex instead of an octo, or I'm sorry, instead of a quad, or maybe better yet a tri, or better yet a uni. I don't know what the requirements were, but he was the one who broke the record, so obviously he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, we've been hearing this a lot in our Discord calls, our weekly Discord calls we do with FPV Freedom Coalition, hearing updates about this, and I'll just say, he's an engineering student who has been doing this work to do all the math to figure all this out, and this is what he's come up with is he's custom made the frame and custom made everything super custom just to do this exact goal. So yeah. I think he mathed out that there's some break point where it's not actually better to do the lower count if you're doing sit still endurance in this kind of hover or something
because it's a hover test instead of a forward flight.
Yeah, there's some kind of, I don't know exactly. I'm sure he could explain it all, but.
Please tell me he didn't fly that manually. Please tell me that had position hold.
I believe it had position hold, but I'm not 100% sure how he did it.
I see it kind of moving around a little in the sky. If that's him flying it manually for 4 hours, I would just, that's extraordinary. Surely not. Very cool. Congrats to Alex. Thank you for $5 from El Profe Moto. Getting started in FPV and your vids have been really helpful. Been watching your Learn to Fly series. You're a legend. Thank you so much. Can you recommend a heat gun for $279 Canadian? Oh, put it over on this page. Yeah, so, I don't do nothing fancy, to be honest with you. I just have a cheap AliExpress hot air gun. I don't even see it here. Not soldering heat guns. So this is super overkill. This is all super overkill. Ah, this is what I have. This is literally the one I own. Not exactly, but pretty close. It's just a little cheap heat gun like this. Actually, at $28, it's not that cheap. But it's something like that. Like, I don't, you know, I'm not doing like heat shrinking like packages where I just need like a huge amount of hot air to shrink the heat shrink. Oh, this is the one. This is the actual one I own. I own this one. I've had it for years. It's been fine the whole time. And if it breaks, I'll spend $13 on another one. This is literally the exact one that I own.
I also own that.
Yeah. It's $12, $13. Oh, see, look, purchased March 2024. Apparently, I bought an extra one. I don't know why I did that. But there you go. Oh, $8, even better. So if you want to if you feel like you need more heat or more air, you can go with one of these high output, expensive ones. You don't need this if all you're doing is shrinking heat shrink on wires. Literally, you don't need it. This is for doing like big packages, heat shrinking, or, you know, I don't know, or like paint removal, right? You're doing something more extreme with hot air than just shrink and heat shrink. For shrink and heat shrink, spend $8 or $10 on this dumb thing, and buy two if you think it'll break, and you'll be good to go. Crom jokes that people were warming up their hands at the bando with that heat gun. Yep, I first got that heat gun because we gave them out at Quad Camp, which was a thing we did with Rotorite years and years ago, where people would come on the weekend and they'd build a drone and hang out and we'd fly, and it was a thing. And as part of that, they would get like a gift kit, or sometimes they would build a drone, and obviously we didn't give away the drones; they paid for them. But they would get like a toolkit with them, and we gave out these heat guns. And I remember it was cold; it was in Houston, and Alex Vanover had that heat gun like stuffed, blowing down his shirt to stay warm, and it formed a core memory for me. Anyway, have you worked with position hold in Betaflight? Yes, I have a video about position hold and altitude hold. You can find it on my channel, Betaflight 4.6 pause hold, alt hold. Search for that. I just got done building your sub 250 gram drone. I followed every direction. As I'm trying to do the tilt test, my roll and pitch are backwards. How do I fix this? Thank you for $10, Sean Neal. First, go to the receiver tab in Betaflight and verify that your pitch channel moves the correct direction. When you pitch forward, the channel should go up to 2,000. When you pitch backward, it should go down to 1,000. Also, there is a 3D model on screen in the receiver tab that will move, and you can see if it moves the correct direction. If that is not correct, you need to reverse your pitch channel on your controller. If your pitch channel is moving the correct direction and the quad pitches the wrong way, your flight controller orientation is wrong. And if you try to fly it, it will flip out. It will flip upside down. So then you need to check your flight controller orientation. If you need more detailed help about that, you're welcome to email me, jb@joshuabardwell.com. Thank you for £5 from Who Is FPV, who asks, considering TBS hasn't released any new transmitters in ages, is Mambo or Tango still worth it to buy nowadays? The only reason to buy the Tango is the Tango is available in an NDAA version, and it's one of the only NDAA controllers you can buy today. Now, if you don't care about NDAA, then I'm not sure why. The Mambo and the Tango have never really been my favorite controller. They don't run a standard version of EdgeTX, so firmware updates are dependent on TBS. You're not keeping up with all the EdgeTX development. Maybe you care about that, maybe you don't. You're going to buy the Mambo, but then you're going to put a Crossfire module in the back. I don't know. If you want, the other reason to buy the Tango is that it has a built-in Crossfire module, which no one else has. So, like, I could see saying I fly Crossfire, I want the Tango because it has built-in Crossfire. But if you're going to put a module in a radio anyway, then I would get like a Radio Master TX15 or TX16 or Boxer, or, you know, I would get a Radio Master. I think they're a better radio than a Mambo. So, that's my take. If you love the form factor of the Tango, okay. Doesn't have a ton of switches, though. You know, I don't love it. Thank you, Zawiza Karni. I feel like that's Polish, and I'm pronouncing it wrong. For your $2 Canadian. Oh, it's Canadian, though. Oh, great. Oh, Blunty. Social Stream Ninja started debugging this browser. Oh, did it crash? It didn't crash. We almost lost the fucking chat. I just started in the FPV hobby. I was wondering what rates I should set in liftoff when I'm just starting in this hobby. I suggest that a beginner should start with the 533 race rates. They're available in a Betaflight preset. Also, if you just search for 533 race rates, you could probably find them. Best drone rates for all skill levels. Here's a good video. I think the 533 rates are good starting rates. Yep. And they're not too aggressive. Personally, I have a little less expo on mine, but I think 533 is a great place to start for beginners. It's not going to be good if you want to do snappy freestyle, but that's kind of why I suggest them for beginners to get you started. That's 0.8 RC rate plus 0.7 super rate, or there is an actual rates analog that you can find in the Betaflight presets tab. Here we've got 30 Polish zloty from Nifotograph. For years, I've had to use box goggles because I don't have stereoscopic vision and dual screens hurt my eyes. Is there a DJI alternative? The DJI N3 goggle is a box-style goggle with a single screen. Right? Am I crazy about that? I'm pretty sure that's true.
You're correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I want to make sure it wasn't like somehow a box goggle with stereoscopic screens and I was misremembering. So if you have to use box goggles, the DJI N3 is the goggle for you. Be careful because the N3 is not compatible with the O3 air unit. It's only compatible with the O4. What's your advice on magnetometer positioning? Thank you for $10 from Cowzilla94. I have one on a 4-inch long-range quad, and it is initially accurate, but drifts within a minute of taking off. Yeah, so the issue there is probably that the electromagnetic interference from the motors is throwing the compass off. If you were running ArduPilot, ArduPilot has a calibration that it does where you hold the drone down on the ground. I put some cinder blocks on top of my drone's legs, and you spin the motors up and down, and it measures the electromagnetic interference from the motors as you spin them up and down and calibrates that out. Betaflight doesn't have that. INAV doesn't have that. So the best thing to do is to get the magnetometer as far as you can get it away from the body of the drone. The other thing that is helpful is to wrap the wires in foil tape, copper tape, something like that. If you do that, make sure you also coat it with fabric or heat shrink so it doesn't the copper tape doesn't short circuit something. But that limits some of the interference that you get from the motors. Having the two places that are most common to put the magnetometer is out the back of the drone. And ideally, you want it a little bit far out the back to get it away from the VTX antennas, which are usually also out the back. Or on the front, like above the top plate. You know, on the sort of forehead of the drone is another place to put it. You should be able to get usable results, certainly on a 7-inch or bigger. If you're on a 5-inch or smaller, it can be in some cases impossible to get a clean compass reading. At which point you want to just turn the compass off. Betaflight and INAV will do good return to home and okay position hold for about 5 to 7 minutes. before you start to get drift with no compass whatsoever. If you need to position hold for more than about 5 minutes, you got to have a compass. Okay, that your mileage may vary. For some people, it may be 10 minutes. But the quad will eventually begin to toilet bowl if you don't have a compass. But you can do return to home and waypoint navigation no problem without a compass. What about moving the magnetometer out of the plane of the motors? I don't know about that. It's not the motors that are generating the electromagnetic interference anyway. It's the wires. The wires radiate electromagnetic interference as current flows through them. But they radiate it out in all directions. So like moving it out of the plane of the motors, it's distance that matters, not so much location, I don't think. If location did matter, then where you would want it, if you think about it, the wire, like, imagine that this pen is the wire, okay? The motor is out here, the ESC is over here. This wire is going to radiate like this, right? It's going to radiate out this direction. It is going to have the least amount of radiation here and here. So in theory, if position mattered, you would want the GPS to be directly off the end of the motor, which of course isn't going to happen. And if you put the GPS directly off the end of one motor, it would be perpendicular to the other, so it would still get interference. You want distance. You want to have the compass, and I say GPS because the compass is usually integrated in the GPS. If you want, you want it as far away from the motor wires as possible. And there is a big difference. Even 2 or 3 centimeters helps. What you will sometimes find is at 6 centimeters distance, everything is fine. At 4.5 centimeters, everything is effed. It's a logarithmic. It's an exponential drop off. So even if you can just get an extra couple centimeters of distance, it can make the difference. Thank you for $5 from JVX. My OSD is not working at all, and I've tried everything. It says VTX not set up. I have a Cadix Vista and a DJI FPV V2. Please help. VTX not set up doesn't matter. That's an analog warning. You're fine. I mean, your VTX may still not be working, but that specific error message. Hang on, let me plug in a flight controller. Oh, non-beta flight firmware is not supported. Why do I have... I guess I have iNav on this flight controller. Hold on. Would wrapping the arm wires with copper tape be bad? I don't know about that. I mean... That's hard to say. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure whether it would work or not. Okay, so what you're seeing is that you go to the ports tab and like, what message are you getting? You're getting this message, I think. Hold on. Where is the VTX is not set up message? Let me disable that. Hold on. How do we get that error message? I gotta remind myself. Okay, got it.
VTX.
So in the video transmitter tab, you're seeing the message your VTX is not configured or not supported. That is... the video transmitter tab has no purpose if you have a Walksnail, Cadix, or DJI video transmitter. Ignore this tab entirely, okay? Your VTX is not configured. That is an analog-specific message. It has nothing to do with you. Ignore that, okay? If your video transmitter is not working, let me refresh my memory. He says I have a Caddx Vista and V2 goggles. So what you need to do is you need to go to the presets tab. So annoying that the default firmware is 2025.12, but they have not updated any of the presets to be labeled for 2025.12. So when you do searches, it just says no presets found. Make the default be 4.5 and 2025.12, or update your goddamn presets to be labeled 2025.12. This is stupid. I'm sure you have many other things that you're working on, and my complaining is probably annoying. What you want to find is the OSD for FPV WTF DJI-3 Avatar HD. You will need to, since you have the V2 goggles, you will need to flash and install WTF OS on your goggles and your air unit, and install the MSP plugin. Are you writing all this down? And then, when you flash this preset, when you can load this preset, your OSD should work. How do you flash and root and all that nonsense? I have tutorials. Let's see. Betaflight HD OSD with DJI Walksnail and HD0. How to set up. No, that's not going to show rooting. Full DJI FPV. I think this is an old tutorial. Full Betaflight OSD and DJI FPV and WTF OS how to. This is the oldest tutorial about how to do this. This is what you need to do. I have another tutorial. I'm not sure whether this tutorial is broken today, whether they took down, I think they took down Butter. Can you still get FPV Butter? Releases. It seems like you can. So this tutorial is actually what I would recommend, but I'm not sure if they took down one of these tools and broke it. But if this tutorial worked for you, that's what I would have you do. So, in short, root your goggles. Root your air unit. Install WTF-OS on your goggles. Install the MSP plugin on your goggles. Install WTF-OS on your air unit. Install the MSP plugin on your air unit. This is all in those videos I linked you to. After you have done that, go to Betaflight and load this preset, then your OSD should work. And if you are thinking to yourself, that's a lot of BS. This hobby is stupid. I don't know why I should have to do all this nonsense. Yeah, you're right. Welcome to the hobby. It's easier if you had an O3 or a G2 or Integra goggles. This is from, your equipment is so old that it didn't really fully support Betaflight OSD. And so you have to jump through extra hoops because you're using old equipment. This is the short version. What wing flight controller do you recommend? It seems all the usual ones are perpetually out of stock, like the SpeedyBee wing and the Maytech. Hey, guess what? What about the TBS Lucid wing? In stock. TBS Lucid Wing AIO, 2 to 6S, 50 amp ESC. We're good to go. Huh? This is from the Chipito, I believe. Maybe the Mojito. There you go. $70 in stock. Is it? That's the PDB. Is it available at like in the US? It's back ordered. You can order it from TBS. It'll ship from. Where do they ship from? Do they ship from Hong Kong? I think they ship from Hong Kong. It'll ship from Hong Kong, which is, I guess it's technically part of China. Ooh, negative social credit score. Nobody debates that Hong Kong's a part of China. Nobody debates that anything else is a part of China either, do they? Negative social credit score. But is Venezuela a part of the U.S.? And if you don't understand how those questions are related, that's off topic for this stream, though. Sunshine, thank you for a $5 super chat. Oh, I love stirring the pot. Oh, it's just a little, though. Then I close the lid and I run away. Happy or less bat crap crazy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Sunshine. I have one of those Black Pearl monitors that do 720p 100 with Walksnail. No charge, deets in the Discord. So Sunshine is giving away one of those monitors for shipping. Well, thank you, Sunshine. That's very generous of you. It's incredibly generous. I want to take this question from Red Honu in the Discord. This is a question that perplexed me for a long time. Why does wrapping the GPS wires help so much? Isn't the communication digital? Yes. So the issue is, I think, that the wires pick up it's not that the digital signal is being corrupted. That's where my mind went to. If the digital signal were being corrupted, it would not cause you to not lock SATs. The GPS would lock the SATs, but then the GPS would not be able to talk to the flight controller. The fact that the GPS is talking to the flight controller indicates that the digital signal is not being corrupted on the wire between the GPS and the flight controller. And the digital signal is usually like it's 9600 baud or maybe it's 56 kilobaud. It's an extremely slow signal. And therefore, it's relatively robust to interference. So why does wrapping the GPS wires in foil tape help? It's not that the digital signal is being corrupted. So what is it? And here I'm just guessing, but I think it's a good guess. It's that the wires are picking up electromagnetic noise. And that electromagnetic noise is traveling up the wires into the GPS and like drowning out the GPS signal inside the RF amplifier or something. Because what else could it be?
That is also my understanding.
The GPS wires, Patrick Buckley, you got it. GPS wires are acting like an antenna that pick up external interference. And they feed that external interference into the GPS receiver. And the GPS receiver is trying to listen to an extremely weak signal from the satellites. And they raise the noise floor for the GPS receiver and prevent it from locking SATs. For a long time, I said that wrapping the wire, I don't know if I ever said it out loud, because like it was just a gut check thing, and usually I keep my gut checks to myself, or at least I very clearly disclaim them when I say them. But I thought that wrapping the wires in foil had to be BS, because obviously the digital signal on the wire is not being corrupted, so what else could the problem be? I didn't think about the fact that the wires would feed interference into the GPS receiver. So, TBS Tracer 69 on a light switch or separate RX and VTX. If you were gonna put the Tracer on a drone, it would be the Tracer 69 on a drone. A racing drone is the perfect place to do it. So, yeah, I mean, mounting a separate receiver and VTX on a racing drone can be difficult because they're so tight and compact. I probably would, if you're obviously you're committed to Tracer and you're using analog, that's what I would go. That's the direction I would go. Well, I'll be darned. Nope, BS. This is BS. Nope. Nope. The number of sats locked is just reported. This is completely bogus. This is made up. This is actually true. This is true. The flight controller MCU can create 1 kilohertz interference. That is not bad. That's 2 out of 3. This one I think is BS. You know, it won't make it look like you have fewer satellites. I think maybe get half credit for this one. I guess I'm not sure that can't happen. This is a good answer. That's a good answer. Well done, Gemini. You win this round, AI. All right. We're caught up on super chats. We're going to get some of the non-super chats out of the way. The mundane chats. Here's one from Slinky13, which stands out because Slinky's a patron in the Discord server. I'm contemplating, let's see if it's actually a good question. Hey, somebody asked me earlier, you in it for the money? I'm contemplating the analog versus 04 version of the Flywoo Firefly 1.8. Firefly 1.8. Thank you to whoever it was. Sorry, I can't remember your name right now. Who gave me the 3-month sample subscription, introductory subscription to Kagi search engine. I'm loving it. I probably will keep the subscription going forward. Very happy with Kagi search. The Flywoo Firefly 1.8. I'm contemplating the analog versus the 04 version. Working from your video about the V2 version of the drone while looking at the new V3 features, the 04 version weighing 39 grams versus 27 grams for analog is concerning. I agree. The analog VTX is now at 400 milliwatts. Look, there's no question that the 04 is going to give you vastly superior video quality and range. There is no debate there. It's going to beat analog hands down. There is no question that the analog version is going to fly much better. It's just a question of where your priorities are. I will say that the Firefly 1.8 with the 04 light is not bad in how it flies. It's not bad. I'm sure the analog version flies much better. But you just have to kind of, see which way you're leaning and make a decision. If you already fly DJI, probably just get the DJI version because you're so spoiled with DJI video quality that you're going to hate the analog one no matter how good it flies. And I didn't think that the 1.8 inch version flew bad. But the analog one clearly flies better. Here's a question from FPV Forever. I got DJI 04 for my main system. What do I choose for backup? Vista or walk snail or analog? I'm not in the US. If I had DJI as my main system, I probably would go analog or HD0 as my backup system. I'm of the opinion, like let's talk about watches, right? Let's say you have a dive watch, a chronometer, a stopwatch, and a dress watch, and you're thinking about buying a new watch. I'm of the opinion that you should try to round out your collection. You should try to add some capability that you don't already have. Don't buy another dive watch, right? Now, you may say, okay, well, I love wearing dive watches. I wear dive watches all the time. I don't really wear dress watches except on very special occasions. So I've got a black dial dive watch. I'm going to buy a white dial dive watch. And now I've got something for when I'm wearing a light colored outfit versus a dark colored outfit. But you've expanded your collection is my point. If you already have DJI as your main system and then you buy Walksnail, you're duplicating. You've basically just got DJI but slightly worse. Now, you have added some capability. Walksnail has, well, I used to would have said Walksnail has a 1S light video transmitter. DJI has that now. Damn. Walksnail has a low light camera. DJI doesn't really have that. You've added a little bit of capability, but there's a lot of overlap between Walksnail and DJI, right? Okay. If you already have DJI as your main system and you add analog, now you have an ultra low latency, ultra lightweight system. So for racing drones, or you can go analog, ultra low latency. For micro drones, you could go analog, or you could go DJI. If you want the lightest of lightweight, you're going to go analog. Same with if you go HD0. So I think you get maximum diversity in your capabilities by having DJI and then either analog or HD0, as opposed to going DJI and then like Walksnail or Vista. You just basically got the same thing you already had, but worse. That's my take. It's all about watches in the end. We recently found out we had to have some plumbing work done, and it's going to cost $3,000. And okay, we decided we needed to have it done. There was a part of me that was like, if I did the work myself, could I buy a watch with that money, or 2 watches? which is messed up because like you have the money for emergencies, right? And then an emergency happens and you decide it's time to spend the money. But if the emergency goes away, you don't just like get carte blanche to spend that money on whatever you want. Right? I mean, that's some people would say anyway. Let's see here. I have the HD0 Lux camera. Does the camera work with analog if I solder red, black, yellow wire? No, it does not. The HD0 Lux camera, it does output an analog signal, but it's a high definition analog signal. It is not a standard NTSC signal. It will not work with a standard as a standard access point or a standard video transmitter. Likewise, the HD0 light video transmitter will not work with a standard analog camera. Oh, gracious sakes. Oh. Thank you for $5 from Hey Ryan. I've been watching for years, and of course my wife has seen many videos as well. She asked, has he been working out? Looking good, man. Keep it up. Hey Ryan, you can tell your wife, I don't know, I can't resist. Yeah, I've been working, I don't know. I'm not clever enough to come up with a comeback. Probably good for not getting beat up. Like my wife asked if you're been working out. She says you look good. I'm like, well, give your wife my phone number, I guess. Like, you trying to? Is this one of those eyes wide shut things? Is that what we're doing? Thank you, Ryan. Why is KISS Ultra popular and said to be better than Betaflight? I'm not touching that question with a 10-foot pole. Thank you for your donation. If you if you want to find out what people like about KISS, go buy a KISS Ultra flight controller and put it in a drone. Go spend time in the KISS Ultra Discord server and see if you like the flight controller, the way it flies, and the people who fly it. There are people who think that it's better. There are people who like it. There are people who are frustrated and annoyed with it. I will say that there's a phenomena. It's the small dog phenomena, right? Like there's a name for this. Like the little Chihuahua barks the loudest, and the big, Doberman just quietly sits there, right? Doesn't have a lot to say. And now the KISS people are going to be upset that I compared them to the Chihuahua. And what I mean by that is, numerically speaking, as a matter of objective fact, there are fewer KISS pilots, KISS Ultra pilots. There are fewer KISS Ultra flight controllers sold in the world than there are Betaflight. See, I'm not making a judgment of your character. I'm just saying numerically, and they know it. And I think people who are big fans of a project, then that project, there's another bigger project that they think theirs is better. They are very eager to jump up and defend the project because they want it to have the esteem and recognition that it deserves. And I think you see that with KISS Ultra. The people who love it are very keen to share their love with other people. Whereas if you love Betaflight, like, first of all, who loves Betaflight? Betaflight is just like the default in a lot of ways. You don't love it, you don't hate it, it's there. Some people hate it. But the people who love KISS, are really big proponents of it and make a lot of noise about how great it is because they want other people to love it as much as they do, and they think it doesn't get the esteem that it deserves. So if there's a reason why it is, you hear people saying, it's so good, you got to try it. It is good. It's legitimately good. There are some things about it that are legitimate criticism and complaints. But I think if you are like, why are people so excited about it? It's because there are some people who really love it and really want you to love it too. Try it. Try it. Anyway, I guess I touched it with the 10-foot pole. I found something I could say about it that I thought would not get me a bunch of fucking BS pushback. It's not even that. It's not even that I don't give a shit about pushback. I say things, I get pushback. Sometimes I respond to the pushback, but I generally don't let pushback dictate what I do and don't say. But I do, care about offending and hurting people's feelings. Not because I'm I don't want pushback, but because, people are real people out there. All the people who get their feelings hurt if I were to talk shit or be careless with my words, I care, they're real people. They deserve respect. KISS is a good project. It deserves respect. It would be easy to just make some snide comment and then, so, it's just out of respect for other people.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
You don't realize it until you do things online, though. You don't really realize it. And then you do the news for 2 years, and then people message you privately and go, why did you say that? I can't believe you said, And then you're like, well, damn it.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, screw you. I said that. I meant it. I don't want to give the impression that I'm averse to conflict. But sometimes you make an offhand comment. It's like Spider-Man, It's the YouTube influencer version of Uncle Ben dying. Is Uncle Ben in Spider-Man? You make an offhand comment. You're trying to be silly, or you don't even think about what you said. You're talking about A, and you accidentally, make an impact on B. And somebody reaches out to you and is like, hey, you got a problem? Are we okay? Or, ouch, Or worst of all, that was not accurate and that was untrue. And you're like, oh shit, I fucked up. I got to make a retraction, And so, the more times that it's happened to me, and it will continue to happen, But I try to be a little more careful about pissing people off. You know, because they're people too, and they're just doing their thing. Anyway. Yes, even the people at Rotor Riot and Unusual Machines. The longer I've been in this, and the more people I've gotten to know, the less I feel comfortable just cutting loose and ripping somebody a new asshole, even though it's good for engagement and good for views. You know? Yeah.
I will say, sometimes my experience over doing the news for however long we did the news, a few years, and then even on here, but mainly the news, because when your face is on screen, it's a little different.
Fair.
Yeah, you might know something about that. Basically, though, what I would say is like there's also this weird counter thing that happens when you're an empathetic person and you're used to dealing with talking to 5 people or 10 people at a time at most, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you have I also had the opposite reaction. Like I had an overacting backlash reaction, like in the same way. So like I would say something and it would be kind of candid and I wouldn't really think about it. And it's not really that big of a deal ultimately. But then you get done with the stream and somebody messages you about it and it feels bigger than it should be because you're used to communicating with a small group of people and things not like being communicated out to people.
I think what you're saying is there's a certain level of sort of just background noise hum. Whereas normally if you're in your friend group and you say something and somebody else is like, hey man, and takes you aside, like that's a big deal. But if you say anything on the internet, someone will push back on you. And it feels more meaningful than maybe it would be in a more private circumstance. Is that what you're getting at?
And it's and more than it really should be because maybe they're more offended than they should be because it just like it makes it bigger than it should be. And so I've also noticed a lot of times where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And then like a week later, you're like, no, I should have said that. Kind of like you said earlier, like, well, no, that was appropriate to say. And like your reaction to that is just because you didn't like what I said or you're uncomfortable with the situation or whatever. But it was completely justified to say. You know?
The analogy I like to use is like, let's say you have a certain type of, let's say even Mexican restaurant, and somebody comes in and you make him the best plate of food you've ever made, and there's nothing wrong with the food. You sit it down in front of him, and he's like, you're like, oh, how did you like the food? And he's like, yeah, I just don't like beans. It was terrible. It had a bunch of beans in it. And you're like, hey, man, maybe this just isn't the restaurant for you. You know, like maybe just, hey, no problem. Not everybody likes beans. I don't know. It's a bad analogy. My point is that you get criticism, you get pushback, and if you take every piece of criticism or pushback exactly as seriously, then you'll drive yourself crazy. And it sometimes the person pushing back is like, hey, maybe people watch Bot Grinder, and Bot Grinder has a certain, way of speaking, and a certain way of being. And there's people who look at him and they're like, this guy's a loser. And I'm like, he's not for you. Don't watch his content. Likewise, me. People think that I sound arrogant. Sometimes they say arrogant. Sometimes they say I talk too much. And like those criticisms, especially when it's like, man, you talk for 20 minutes. Like, hey, man, it's working for me. It's like, you don't like it? There's the door. No one's forcing you to watch the content. But it can also be easy to just write off all criticism as invalid criticism. Be like, yeah, well, you're just another voice on the internet, and you end up as just a complete narcissist. And some of the criticism you get from your viewers, you should have to be at least open to the possibility that it's valid. And it's very, very difficult to walk that line. To walk the line between not becoming just a completely raging narcissist who does whatever you want with no feedback and being just overwhelmed by constant feedback that will always be there from people who just maybe shouldn't be watching your content. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, a Wild Beard says, Thank you for $5. I bought a Darkstar 22 and DJI G3 from GetPercy using your affiliate. Should I be worried about import to the U.S.? No, not at all. They will get to you. There may or may not be a customs payment. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about GetPercy. I actually have an order from GetPercy. I got part of the order, not the whole order, and I did not have a customs payment. So you may, but they're not going to be turned around at the border, I don't think. If they are, it'll be the first time I've heard of it. Seth Roth Hacker, thank you for $5, who says, thanks to Plenty for the drinks, help, and to Joshua for answering my email and getting me into the Discord server. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Seth Roth. High Tech wants to know. Oh, wrong one. Where did it go? There it is. Will there be any chance JB will be at the February 21 or March 21 Tiny Trainer race in Clinton, Tennessee? I don't know about those. I will be at the January 17th race. I don't know about the February and March races. Why do you need to pay to get into your Discord server? Well, I think we established earlier that I'm all about the money. Why do you need to pay to get into my Discord server? Why do you need to pay to get into the movie theater? It costs money to get into some things because they have value. And the most important reason is this. Because I could have opened up the Discord server for free, and I mean, some people definitely join my Patreon specifically to join the Discord server. But for God's sakes, it's $2 a month. Shut up. Shut up. I say that, and you know, Bardwell, not everyone can afford $2 a month. Shut up. If you are one of the people out there, legitimately, who your budget is so tight that you can't afford $2 a month, I acknowledge that you exist. But most people, shut up.
But if you should not be doing FPV.
Howard, exactly, Melindy. Thank you. You are in the FPV hobby. The fact that you fly FPV means that you are not so tight on money that you can't afford $2 a month. So first of all, why do you charge money to get in the Discord server? It's $2 a month. That is 2 propellers. Do you break 2 propellers a month? Then shut up. You could just pay $2 and join my Discord server. And I try to be, I'm like, oh, you know, whatever. It's your money. Join or don't join. It's up to you. But like you asked, okay? Then the implication of you asking is that I shouldn't do it. And that's sort of like, okay, I'm going to be a little more real with you. Okay? Okay, so first of all, shut up. It's $2 a month. If you wanted to join the Discord server, you would just pay $2, you would join my Patreon, and you would get in the server. Okay? So shut up about that. And second of all, the actual reason is exactly that. It's not the money. Because most people who join my Patreon, they don't do it specifically to get access to the server, although I think some of them do. But mostly the reason is because I've been on other Discord servers where there was no barrier to entry, and it is just full of bullshit. It's got 5,000 people, 2,000 of them are just posting memes, you know, and if by making the absolute bare minimum bar to entry of $2 a month, which any person who flies FPV drones can afford, you are spending more than that. It is nothing. By putting the tiniest barrier to entry, it keeps out people who just kind of want to, I don't know, you're just going to show up and you're not going to contribute positively. You're going to be a drain on the mods. You're going to just increase the noise and decrease the signal. And I know that, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would contribute meaningfully but don't want to pay. I'm sure those people exist, but, statistically, the kind of person who is like, oh, I only want to be on servers that are free, that person is going to be less likely to contribute meaningfully than somebody who takes the token amount of $2 a month. And it makes the server better. It keeps out the riffraff. Oh, somebody's going to be so mad. Bardwell said that poor people are riffraff. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. No, that's not what I said. Pay attention. Pay attention. I saw a quote from Chevy Chase, and God, I should not compare myself to Chevy Chase because he apparently is a gigantic raging asshole. But the interviewer said, I'm trying to figure you out. And he said, you're not going to figure me out. And she said, how come? And he said, well, you're not bright enough. I was like, ooh. And I thought of that just now. If you heard what I just said there, and what you took from it was, Bardwell thinks poor people are riffraff who don't deserve to be on his server, that quote applies to you. That's not what I said. Go back, try again. Anyway, looking forward to the pushback. It will be pushback that I ignore. Monthly subscriptions have no end. I don't want another monthly subscription. No hard feelings. No hard feelings. You can't be on the server, though. That's it. I draw the line. I draw the line. There's a line. That's the line. Here's the thing. Do you have a subscription to Netflix? Do you have a subscription? What monthly subscriptions do you have? You have some. You said they have no end. Now, I don't know what monthly subscriptions you have, but you have some. So what you're saying is, I don't value access to your Discord server enough as much as I value my other subscriptions that I do have. No hard feelings. You don't get to be on the server. You have to value it a little bit. And that's why it costs $2 to get in. If it's not worth a token amount, then you don't value it at all. You just want to be there. Why do you want to be there? I just kind of want to be in the room. Okay, you're not contributing. If you don't value it at least a little bit, a tiny token bit, you don't get in. And that's why it costs $2 or more. You could sign up at a higher level. That's why it's not free. To make sure that everyone in the room values it at least a little bit. No hard feelings if you don't. There you go. I don't pay for shit. Respect. Don't pay for shit. You get everything for free, but you don't get into my server. That's all. No hard feelings. There's a place for free servers. They can be fun too. That's just not the kind of server I want to have. Anyway, there you go. That's the thing. No, I have no hard feelings. Literally no hard feelings if you don't. But I will have hard feelings if you don't value my server enough to join and you give me a hard time about wanting you to pay in order to get in. That I will have hard feelings about. Anyway. Do you do any historical logging of your packs? No, not at all. Literally none. Thank you for $5 a wild beard. I just cannot be bothered. Anyway. Oh, there we go. We've come to the end of the stream. Yeah, the rant is over. This was fun. Oh, yeah. If I didn't get to your question, save it for the next one, or you're welcome to email me. We did pretty good, Blunty. We currently have 19 comments. Actually, I think that one already went through 18. Yeah. So we did pretty good, not leaving too many behind. You can ask them in email to me or in the Discord server, or you can save it for the next live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Bye.